Vice President of the Movement for Community-Led Development, Steve Ogutu, the coordinator of the movement, Kenyan chapter, Celine Korir, co-chair of the movement, the Kenyan chapter, and the government representatives, colleagues, representatives from non-state actors. I'm really very happy to be in this very, very important meeting where we will sign as Makueni the MoU so that we can solidify our work together. So this is a big moment for us. And I'm again speaking in this forum after, I think I did so 2 years ago during the launch of the Kenyan chapter. I think it was January 30th of 2019. So I'm glad to be back. And I'm sure that this MoU will formalize our collaboration and with the primary objective of deepening community-led development in our county. And as you have indicated, Steve, also to see how we can work with other counties so that we can together, under your guidance, deepen community-led development in our country, because this is actually the essence of devolution. And we are lucky within our constitution and other laws, the County Government Act and other laws, there is actually provision for community-led development legally. Because really Zipporah has been able to make very, very elaborate comments on our behalf, I will not want to take a lot of time, except to say that from the perspective of our county, having been one of the people involved in making the constitution of our country, helping in that particular process, the 2010 constitution. Previously, we had said that the government controlled everything and the communities, the society was stifled. And it was necessary to have, first of all, a people-driven constitution-making process. And now we're asking for a people-driven implementation of the constitution. And we're asking, therefore, people-driven development. And I think all those lead to community-led development. The reason being, since the development happens for the community, it is essential that the community is at the core of driving that development. And if at all there is quote, quote, development that is not animated by the people themselves, it is going to be hollow. And countries will continue to say they are developing, and yet that is not happening because the very primary stakeholder in that development, the community, is being bypassed. And that is why, therefore, coming from being part and parcel of helping to make the constitution, it was very clear to me as a person and to the deputy governor who was also involved in that process and others in Makueni County, that we should truly translate the constitutional mandate of people being involved in their development so that it becomes a reality. And again, because I had also, as a teacher and as also an activist, looked at what people are doing in the communities, I was very much aware of their organizational and institutional capacity, that they have organizations, they have institutions, and therefore that is richness that you tap into. You don't simply say that the state institutions or the government institutions, those are the ones that must be used. So we thought that, first of all, you look at that strength within the community and you work with that. It is the building block to anything else. And that is why I'm thinking that within now this movement, that recognition of within the communities, there is that potential, and that is the potential that is required to be built so that the citizens, the communities will feel that they are the forefront of their own development and the institutions are being recognized, and any strengthening that is required, that happens. And I think in terms of the Kenyan chapter, if we are able to look at what is happening in those community structures, and then we strengthen them and we build capacity of their governance, their capacity in their water projects, in their health facilities, in their sourcing on their indigenous knowledge and so on. I think that perhaps is one of the things that can help our continent, not just Kenya, to begin to actually have genuine development. Of course, within our county, we decided that it is important to create the policies, the law, the programs, and therefore the practice of community-led development. And I think Zipporah did mention a lot about that very deliberate way of now creating the potential so that community-led development is real in the structures of a government, a county government. And of course, there is the constitutional provisions, the County Governments Act and so on. But within the counties, it is important so that there is clear policy, there is clear law, there's the practice now as clear programs, and therefore the community-led development becomes very real. Now, at the level of the national government, there is, of course, the Ministry of Devolution, which guides, endeavors to guide within the counties themselves. There is also, normally, we have ministries of devolution, and then the communities themselves. So one has to look at what is happening at the national level, what is happening at the county level, and what is happening at the community level, so that there is linkage. Those levels speak to each other in terms of honoring and practically implementing community development. And it's very critical that even within Makueni and the Elgeyo Marakwet, Nakuru, counties which are beginning to really farm up community development, it is important that the government people, both at the national level and the county level, they don't sabotage community-led development. Because even when there is a commitment to it, you can have people who feel uncomfortable that these citizens, and some of them don't have the degrees we have, they are usurping our power and they are questioning what we tell them and all that. So one has always to be very careful so that there isn't that backlash of people feeling disempowered. They are supposed to be elected, they are supposed to have been appointed into positions, and yet incrementally, these citizens are exercising a lot of power. Like initially in Makueni, when a PMC of elected beneficiaries of a project could say that you have not done it right, contractor, Mr. Contractor or Mrs. Contractor, we will not sign so that you can be paid. And initially the contractors thought that this was a joke until they went to ask for their money and they were told, go back and bring the certificate of those beneficiaries who must say, we agree that this has been done to our specifications. So that is all, there's that tug of war between some government people, some elite people, thinking that we are ceding a lot of power to these ordinary, the so-called ordinary people. And because of our understanding that if the development is not led by those communities, since it belongs to them, then it will not work. that is why we have tried to tell everybody, please let us follow the policies we have laid down, the laws and the practice, and this will assist. Of course, community-led development can also be expensive in terms of like in terms of funding, when you want to do the capacity building, so that if it is people like in water, you can have all those water projects, but if the governance is not right, then that will not translate into a lot of water for your people, for the agriculture, and so on and so forth. So again, people have to deliberately, within the counties, with the national level, with our development partners, look for the resources that will enable that to happen. And for me, this MoU is part of our working with the international community, the government community, both national and county, working with non-state actors, including now this chapter on the international level, and the communities themselves. So it is really, even as we ask ourselves, how do you implement SDGs in a proper way? How do you implement all these, plans, whether they are county plans, their visions, and all that? I think one has to look at, all those levels, because sometimes when you have problems with the national articulation of community-led development, there is support from the international level, there is support from the non-state actors, and therefore we begin to entrench this way of doing real, genuine development for our communities. And therefore, as Makueni, we're in a very good space. There are counties which are doing similar work like us, and we are sure that they will be inducted into this community-led movement. And devolution this movement will help to entrench devolution, particularly as we go towards transitions of the county governments and transitions of the national level. This is really the way to go forward in terms of devolution. And I really, thank John, thank Steve, thank Korir, thank everybody, and really ask that let's continue to work so that this movement helps us to really entrench community-led development and therefore devolution here, so that also people in other African countries can come to learn from Kenya. And thank you very much. That's all that I wanted to say.
And thank you very much, Governor. Indeed, just like Zippy had mentioned, and in your presentation, Makueni is a shining example of what community-led development can do in terms of bringing us closer to achieving the SDGs, Vision 2030, and even the Big Four agenda, which is the a key priority for the current government. And so I think as a movement, and based on this memorandum of cooperation that we'll be signing today, I think that we are very keen to make sure that we cooperate and we continue to work together to empower communities in Makueni and across the country, because whatever you are doing in the county, if that can be replicated by the other 46 counties, you can imagine the kind of country we will be living in. An empowered country, an empowered citizenry, and that is the future that we want for this country. And so I think right now we want to get into another brief session of now signing that MoU. And John Coonrod, the Executive Vice President of the Hunger Project and the co-founder of MCLD, is going to be signing on behalf of the movement. And of course, the governor will be signing on behalf of the county. And I would just want to request the two to position yourself in a place where that paper can be seen. And then after signing, you display it to us, so we are able to see. Right. Yes, John. Yes, John. That way.
Now?
Are you done signing? And bring it closer to the screen. Yeah, just like that. We are waiting for the governors. Governor, if you could bring it closer to the screen. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much. I mean, this is what COVID has done to, you know, so we have to really adapt and do things differently. But thank you very much. We truly appreciate it. I know ZP and I will be coordinating to have the copies from the county handed over to us and exchange those signed copies with the county as well. I think at this juncture, before I hand it over to John, I would really want to also thank my colleagues here in Kenya, Nancy and Caroline and Celine and Steve Otieno, who've been really supportive in terms of the entire process of conceptualizing this MoU and working with the county to draft it into what it is today. Into what we are signing today, we are really, I'm really grateful to that kind of support. Over to you, John.
Thank you so much, Steve. And Excellency, Professor Kibwana, it's such a delight seeing you again. I learned so much from you in Nairobi before the pandemic, and the opportunity now for the movement to work in formal partnership with you is a great opportunity. I had the opportunity to say in 2019 that I was going to do everything in my power to have the example of Kenya's devolution become a beacon of hope for all of Africa. And so I'm very hopeful that travel will become safe soon and people will be able to visit and meet in person and see the power that unfolds when people and their governments work in partnership, everyone bringing their greatest strengths. The movement is thriving. We have just recently completed a big collaborative research project with some support from USAID, and the new USAID czar for a localization, Ambassador Don Steinberg, is going to be speaking at our event next week to release those findings. So I think, and we're also having the head of the World Bank CDD program reflect on those findings. So we're getting the attention of the people who have the resources and who need to direct more and more of those resources into the hands of communities. I'm also been working very closely since seeing the text of this partnership that with my colleagues in Mexico, because in Mexico, the movement there has created a school for community-led development. They've run it for the past 3 years. And so we've already begun translating their materials as a point of departure to see what has worked for them and how their experience might be a contribution towards the creation of a curriculum of community-led development education in Makueni County, and hopefully could be then, as you mentioned, brought to all the other counties. So I'm really excited about the pioneering effort that Makueni County has been. It has inspired me. I'm sure it has inspired many in Kenya. You know, I was first introduced to Kenya by one of your great scientists, a man named Thomas Odhiambo, who is no more, but he would tease me, and we would have it was phone calls back then. We'd talk a lot, but he'd say, "When are you coming to Kenya? You say you're committed to Africa, but you've not been here." So I had to get myself over to Kenya as quickly as I could, and I looked for every opportunity to visit. So thank you very much for this partnership. You can count on the full support and energetic support by my colleagues. My colleague Anne, who's our coach for all of the chapters, is on this call, and Daisy, who's our regional coordinator, is on this call. And so we are all very much looking forward to this partnership translating into real progress for the people of Makueni and the people everywhere. So thank you, Steve, and thank you, Governor. It's just such an honor to be part of this partnership.
Thank you. Thank you very much, John, for those great remarks. I would like Dr. Daisy, who's our regional coordinator, to just give some few remarks as we wind up. Daisy, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, please give us some few remarks.
Yes, Steve. Yeah. Professor Kibwana, I'm really, really excited that we are reaching today. I remember when we first met, when we were launching the Kenya chapter. It was a great moment then. What inspires me, excites me, is that we are still walking the journey. And today, we have even signed a memorandum of understanding. What was interesting is that the relationship would take. But today, we are seeing the Makueni County, Professor Kibwana, being again, innovate a beautiful memorandum of understanding of the cooperation of the memorandum of innovative ideas, like having for community-led development. These are all innovations which we are seeing as a result of the partnership, and also which are helping the community-led development chapters, the movement to grow. So I want to take this opportunity to thank the Kenya chapter for always being the trailblazer, because we are talking about Kenya every time we talk about when we talk about chapters, we are giving Kenya as an example. And yet today you have set another example of what it means to have communities partner with government to steer their development. So on behalf of, I don't know now where I'm saying, yeah, the Hunger Project, the Community-Led Development Chapter, East Africa, and everybody, I'm really excited, and I look forward to supporting this process to make sure we have other more learnings, other more successes, which other chapters can emulate. So thank you, Steve. Thank you, the entire team, the Kenya chapter. Thank you so much. Continue innovating, continue being creative. It's the way to go.
Thank you very much, Dr. Daisy. Carol Maringa, if you could please give us closing remarks.
Sure. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you very much, John Coonrod. And most of all, thank you, Professor Kibwana, for once again gracing our occasion. So this is a very big day for both Makueni and MCLD Kenya. And this MoU signifies our collective commitment and advance community-led development interventions to spur genuine development for all across Kenya. Governor Kibwana, we are very honored and blessed to have you join us today. As MCLD, we are proud of the great work that you continue to do in Makueni. Makueni's success in using the public participation model is a tool of development and is a shining example of how CLD model can bring us closer to achieving development blueprints such as the SDGs, Vision 2030, and the Big Four agenda. So allow me, and on behalf of the MCLD team, to express our gratitude to your team and also to Dr. Zippy Wambua. Thank you very much for your thoughts, the time and the commitment that went into the conceptualization and design of the MoU. We hope to continue with the same cooperation for the benefit of the communities that we work with. In the coming few weeks, as has been mentioned, we'll be focusing on turning the MoU into a work plan, and this will guide us in meeting the aspirations of both parties. Our hope is to have the other 46 counties follow in your footsteps. Thank you, and God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I think with those remarks, I don't have much to add other than to thank you all for finding time to join us today. And indeed, it's a big day for Kenya, if I could say that, and for the movement globally. Thank you very much, and have a good evening and good day to team in the US. You could actually unmute your videos and bye-bye.
Yes. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. Have a blessed day.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.